Hey guys, and just as a quick disclaimer as well, Jimmy wanted me to mention this because honestly I have no idea anything about it. It has never been illegal to play poker online in the U.S. It's just been illegal to host online poker sites. So he was never violating any laws.
Seeing you perform was essential. I haven't seen many people perform like that in that kind of way. And I go to more than 2,000 shows.
You tell me all about the game, and you were real about it. You didn't sugarcoat anything. You talked personal life, the little girl, and all that stuff.
3-7-9, and Ginther takes the lead. Ginther outflies.
You'll never see the pain I hide behind a flip frown. That's why I always pace, and it's so hard for me to sit.
All right, what is going on, guys? We're back, episode 18 of the Basement Podcast. We got Jimmie Ray on for our 18th podcast. Jimmie, how you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good. Hello, world.
All right, so if you guys don't know who Jimmie is, he's the assistant coach for Ipswich now. I think I've known him since 8th grade. Jimmie, how did you end up in Ipswich? Because didn't you grow up in Vermont? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Maryland, lived in Virginia until I was 9, southern New Hampshire until 18, then Boston for a while, and then Montreal, then Mexico, and then landed on the North Shore when I had a kid.
Yeah.
Great area. And then we started in Amesbury, and we were renting, impossible to find a place. So we just, for 6 months, tried to get anything we could, and first thing that came up was Ipswich. So that's what brought us here. It wasn't really we picked it.
Yeah, you picked it. Okay. Talk about your early basketball career, because obviously you're passionate about the sport. How did you get into it? Where did it start, and where did it take you?
Started at Londonderry North School, rec. Recess.
Yeah.
My boy Matt Henry, shout out to Matt Henry, put the ball in my hand.
Yeah.
Made me believe in the game, and kind of changed my life from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just playing in the backyard, playing at the school, and just kind of fell in love with it, and it turned into something from there. Snowballed,
Yeah. All right. So you played in high school. Did you play in college?
I didn't play in college.
Okay. So how was high school for you though?
It was good,
Yeah.
I went to 2 different public schools.
Okay.
I started in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and that's where I started playing, and I was kind of back into the bench.
Yeah.
Starting in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a slow climb to the point where my sophomore year, I was playing varsity and JV, and I was the best player on JV. So I kind of came up that far, but there was kind of a ceiling.
Yeah.
How far I could go, because there were a couple kids in my grade that were. One of them, his dad coached D1.
Yeah.
So my parents were like, "Hey, we can't afford our mortgage anymore, so
Yeah.
we gotta get out of here. You can choose which town we go to. We can stay here. We can go." So we just went one town over where there was a basketball program that I could integrate into more easily.
Yeah.
And kind of take the top spot, and I could keep the friends I had, because it was,
Yeah.
we were right on the line.
Okay. So kind of talk about so what happened for you after high school, because this is one part that I really don't like. I know you play basketball a lot, but I know you this is hopefully this isn't generic. I want you to talk about what happened to you after high school, because that's what I'm in right now, and I'm just wondering what steps you took when you got out of high school.
So I went to prep school for basketball.
Yeah.
With the intention of staying there for 2 years and then getting a scholarship to play D2 or D1 if I could.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So try and climb up from D3 to a school that could let me go for free. Dad's coming in. Yeah. So I kind of always knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was always going to college. That wasn't gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
And my plan was just go as far as I could with basketball, so that I had as good of a resume as I could have with it, and then get into training and not physical therapy, because it would be very different from that.
Yeah.
But kind of my feeling was always that I could have gone so much further if I had someone in my corner with me.
Yeah.
Right? So I was always, every drill I've ever done was something I found on my own.
Yeah.
Right, that we didn't have resources in the late 90s, early 2000s when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
To like, you can't just go on YouTube and Google, shooting drills. Like, I was at Barnes and Noble, ripping through every book they had.
Yeah.
Like, taking notes, making stuff up on my own. So I wanted to be someone who would accelerate the learning curve for people who were as dedicated as I was.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. Just, I spent a lot of years building that intention, kind of, right? Like, so it's like a powerful motivation that you can't fake.
Yeah.
So that was the plan: go to college, try and play professionally overseas, and then come back and work with highly motivated people.
Yeah. So what did happen though?
So went to prep school. We had some really good athletes that year, some football players that came over that were really good, and had the best basketball team the school had ever had, which isn't like saying a whole lot. It wasn't a basketball school.
Yeah.
But won our Christmas tournament for the first year, first time ever, and made the playoffs for the first time ever. But after that year, you gotta understand, I was 18 when I went to that school.
Yeah.
That school was 9 to 12 or 9 to 13 really. They had postgrads obviously, and so I'm like in classes with like 15-year-olds. I told you my intention was to go there for 2 years. So I graduated from public school and then reclassified as a junior.
Okay.
So as an 18-year-old, I'm in classes with 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, my English class literally was all books I'd already read in public school.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it was a little bit of a culture shock there.
Yeah.
Because this is like a shirt and tie school. Like jacket every day, very formal. And I'm locked in the dorms for like study halls and like no freedom, minimum of freedom you can have.
Damn. Like Catholic school, like that type of stuff, or not really?
Okay, a
little bit
looser than that.
Yeah.
Looser than that.
Okay.
Not like that. But,
All right.
So yeah, it was kind of tough being there. And after the season, I started just playing poker online in the dorms.
Yeah.
Right, and poker is something that's, it's a completely individual activity. Where basketball, I was the guy who was waking everybody up that fall at like 4:30 in the morning to get into the gym. Like, they made me do study hall from 8 to 9 o'clock every night.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me go to the gym. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm getting up at 4.
Yeah.
Like, you won't let me work out on this side of it, I'll work out on this side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I spent like years as a basketball player trying to carry the people around me to kind of rise
Like
up
motivate.
to my level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Leadership was like one of my biggest focuses.
Yeah.
So basketball, you're dependent on your teammates, you're dependent on the refs, you're dependent on your coach, right? And I felt like those, the external factors were kind of limiting what I could do.
Well,
my coach just wanted to throw me in the corner because every team was scheming for me.
Yeah.
Right? They knew, oh, this guy never misses. So we're just going to throw a body on him, full denial. So my coach was like, all right, we'll throw him in the corner and then give space to everybody else. But when I got into poker, it was like, oh, like whatever
they can't
I put
dodge you.
into this, it's what I put into it is what I'm going to get back.
Yeah.
Where basketball, it's like what I put in, I'm going to get, like half back.
Yeah.
Because I got to throw, a lot of energy to a teammate over here who, would kind of be slacking without the wind at its back that they're given.
Yeah.
Right. So with poker, it was just, it was something where it was clear, like, I was going to be able to excel at it.
Yeah.
With the dedication that I had.
Yeah.
I'm a math guy anyway. Like, that's the way I always thought analytically, logically. So yeah, I started with it, got hooked with it, and saw that there was no limit to what I was going to be able to do with it. So I went with it, and I left school a month into my second year there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I would have stayed. I obviously was never going to walk away from basketball.
Yeah.
Poker wasn't going to take that away from me. But what happened was, the first month at school, I made so the number is I made $30,000 the first month of school.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the dorm playing online.
Wow.
And in a different dorm, there was a hazing incident that had to do with a poker game. So the school banned poker on the campus.
So you're like,
unrelated
I'm
to me.
out of here.
So yeah, it's like, all right, I gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
I got paper to chase.
Yeah. I respect that. That's crazy. But all right, so like, how did that lead into, you still play poker today, correct?
So Encore Casino opened in Boston in June. So since that came back, yes, poker has re-entered my life. But I actually quit playing poker in 2014 to do daily fantasy sports.
Yeah.
So it was when my daughter was born. You know, poker's technically illegal to play online in most of the U.S.
Yeah.
Including Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So it was just too difficult to do.
Yeah.
So just switched to DFS. Was way easier and there was way more money in it.
Yeah. Now 2014, if I remember, like, that's like kind of like you were right at the beginning of that, right? Like that's when DFS kind of really started picking up heat.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing like FanDuel commercials on TV and stuff, and I was like, this looks cool.
Right. That was the year where every commercial break in an NFL game had a DraftKings ad,
Yeah.
a FanDuel ad,
Yeah.
and then probably another DraftKings ad.
Yeah.
Like it was that insane.
Yeah.
And that year, the sites, they pushed so many ads that they drew so much attention that they broke the industry, and they had a bunch of litigation come on them all at the same time, and suddenly the sites that were just printing money basically were operating at a loss.
Yeah.
For the next 4 years.
Really?
Until they opened their sports books, yeah.
Okay, so for people like, I was talking about it with Will on the podcast, like literally just quickly and briefly, for people that want to get into, you know, poker, or like, all right, so we'll do poker and then we'll do daily fantasy sports. What would be your top like 3 picks for poker? Like, what do you think? Like, obviously there's no guidebook to be like, you got to do this, like checklist like that, unless you think there is. But what would be like 3 things, like if someone wanted to get into poker and try to do it professionally, like you did, what would you do? Like, what would you tell them to do?
I would tell them to throw that idea out. Don't even think about going to play poker.
Yeah.
Poker was, when I started, it's nothing like it was. It's nothing like it is today. It's very difficult. And when I started, it's like I'd go to a table with 9 guys, and I'd be the only one who had done any studying on the game.
Yeah.
That's how easy it was. It was free money everywhere. Now you go to a table with 9 guys, 7 of them are playing professionally.
Yeah.
Or the rake is so high, the rake being like the
Do you see that
percentage of
at the
pot.
Encore? Like, people are like super good at it, like they go there.
Well, sort of.
You see like regulars that are like kind of always there, and they're like, you guys like kind of know each other.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of be like, yo, I got this table, you get that one? Do you ever do that?
Not me. They do.
They do that?
Yeah. I'm a level above all those guys.
Oh shit.
Oh no. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm straight up with you. I'm one of the best poker players in the world, even having taken 5 years off.
Yeah.
Those guys will never see the game the way I did.
Yeah.
But that's like old Jimmie. That's Jimmie 23.
Yeah.
That was my handle back in the day. I'm Jimmie 33 now.
Yeah.
I just, I'm 33 years old. So, yeah.
Did poker? So obviously you named like all the places you've been to. Did poker bring you to those places?
Poker became illegal in the United States. It was always technically illegal, but the enforcement really began April 15th, 2011. We call it Black Friday.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I had to relocate to Montreal to get access to the funds that were in my poker accounts when it all got shut down, and to continue playing. So it was like 2 years in Montreal for that, and then about a year in Mexico in a small city called La Paz on the southern tip of the Baja California, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to think. Did you play in like big tournaments? Like, did you like, because I've seen it like on TV and stuff. Like when I'm scrolling around like ESPN, they'll have like poker tournaments. Were you like ever on like one of those?
I played in tons of those. I have a lot of tents in my in my results. Not a lot of the wins I have weren't televised.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in those tournaments. I was at the World Series of Poker a bunch of years. Best finish in the main event was 150th for like 50,000 in what was a pretty wild year, because when we got to the final 150, two of my really good friends were still in as well.
Yeah.
So it's like we were all trying to make that final table, and then we all ended up finishing between 150th and 120th.
Yeah.
Real sad outcome, but so yeah, that's my best main event finish. Best World Series finish is a 10th in a World Series Europe event in Paris in 2014. World Poker Tour events, I just have 10ths. Those only film the final 6. Yeah, I don't know. So I played in that stuff, but like I never got that $1 million score that you see.
Yeah.
People.
Okay, and then so that would be your first one, is don't even think about being pro. Is that, are you trying to like say like kind of like if you have a passion for it, like let it come to you, or like?
No, I'm saying don't get involved in poker.
Oh, like now,
so,
like literally don't, because it's so hard.
So yeah, well poker's very difficult. Poker will teach you a lot. You can become very disciplined. You can become very intelligent. You can learn a different way of seeing the world. You can the best way I could phrase that is you can learn equity-based thinking compared to the typical person who has results-oriented thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So poker, those are really valuable lessons, but the amount of energy it takes to become a profitable professional poker player, if you took that same amount of energy, applied it to business, you're making way more.
Yeah.
And then the ceiling on poker is like, so you think about going to Encore and you're like, oh, there's this 2-5 table with a $500 buy-in.
Yeah.
And oh man, this guy just won this hand for, it's like a $1,500 pot. So like you think the numbers are big, but the most that you could ever, no matter how good you are, expect to make at those stakes is like $50 an hour.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be like 10 big blinds an hour until you get really world class. So that's pennies compared to what you can make in business.
Yeah.
Right? Business, there's no cap on what you can make.
Yeah.
You decide you want to make 50 million, you can go out and make 50 million. Like if you really want to do that, you can't do that in poker.
Yeah. Okay. So poker and then DFS. So I want to hear, like, I'm just trying to do a chronological like order. So like we started like where you born, high school, basketball, all your early roots of basketball, what you're doing after high school, which was poker, and then you got into DFS in 2014. How did that go for you? Is that the time you had your kid, right? You said you had your first kid.
So she was April 2014, and I picked DFS up in time for football season in September. DFS, going from online poker, it's very easy transition. It's very similar skill sets. And I obviously already had the base where wins and losses didn't really affect my judgment or my decision making.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting into DFS was real easy. Poker was like, I would put in these 60-hour crazy sessions, like, and just play one-on-one with a guy. We'd play 4 tables at a time. Sometimes we'd play 6 tables or 8 tables. Like, it would be so insane. And you got to be on point all the time. Like, every single moment of that 60-hour session, you got to be locked in to what's happening at this moment while holding on to what's happened recently and where you're going, right? But with DFS, it's like you got to work hard for an hour, and then when lineups lock, they lock, and you just sit back, like,
you just watch it. Yeah.
Right. It just happens. Like, the thing plays itself rather than you having to play it. So DFS was a really big blessing for me and my family.
Yeah. So you I remember I was texting you about it. You played how many years of that?
I quit DFS in maybe March of this year.
Okay.
And I quit because I got to the point where DraftKings and FanDuel were making, I don't know, $1.5 million each off of me alone per year, just like the rake that I was contributing to the sites. And their treatment of players is like
Terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's extremely abusive, and they have an uneducated consumer that they do everything they can to take advantage of.
That's true.
So I didn't want to be a part of that anymore without getting some type of commission reimbursement.
Yeah.
Basically, basically what I'm saying is, I in terms of like the contests that they offer, being like a commodity, I purchase that commodity.
Yeah.
At wholesale, wholesale numbers, I should get wholesale rates.
Yeah.
Right. So DFS, I couldn't do it and be happy anymore without getting some type of a deal, without having a win against the sites with what the treatment was for so many years. And I didn't need it anymore. Like I'd reached a point where I was happy to cake out. Like I wasn't gonna push myself into a realm of unhealthiness for the sake of money anymore.
Yeah.
Like the whole time I was doing DFS and when I was doing poker, it was like, all right, like I got to do this now. I got to sacrifice the future for the moment, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I did that for years and years and years, trying to make the money, get to the point where you can relax.
Yeah.
And
Is that where you are now?
what, financially?
Yeah.
No, I'm not set like that.
Yeah.
But our big goal, my family's big goal, was to buy a house.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we wanted. And we got the house.
Yeah.
So it just kind of has been reevaluate time. And
Yeah.
And so my perspective, and this is kind of a wild perspective to throw out there, but I like to just, because I know I could do whatever I wanted. I can make as much money as I want.
Yeah.
In whatever way, business, poker. Without DFS, I can. With poker, yeah. Anyway, so I like to think like, I like to look back from the end of my life.
Yeah.
And I like to just assume, Jimmie 74 is a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's whatever he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right. And I let the end of my life make very expensive purchases for my present self. Right.
Okay.
And that wealthy version of myself has a different decision-making process than me here and right now might have. Where if I think, like I could have played NFL for DFS this year, but my best estimate is like the stress that I would have gone through from doing it would have literally taken a year off my life.
Yeah.
Like I'm increased risk for a stroke. I'm all kinds of problems come from the type of volatility that I throw myself into when I do that. So me at the end of my life, who lives in a world of abundance, is like, absolutely not. There's no number you could throw at me that's going to make me say yes to taking a year off my life. Right. So that's a perspective I try and hold on to, but it's a privileged perspective. Yeah. Right. And after taking 7 months off, I'm definitely getting to the point where I got to kind of let go of that privilege. The need is coming back. Yeah. But trying to get through Christmas.
Do you ever regret maybe all the stress you put yourself onto, or like stress you put onto yourself for money, or no? Do you think it's like, I mean, I honestly think it was like a crazy, like this story right now, like I'm like, this is crazy to me to hear this. Because I remember like when I first met you, it's just like, you're just like, yo, you wanna rebound for me? Like I'll pay you some money. And I was like, all right. Like I don't know who you
Nikhil
are.
has that same introduction.
Yeah.
Probably a few people.
No, I also, Kelly, if you're watching this, because I'm probably gonna link it to Kelly. Kelly, the trainer, is like, I swear, no, like he doesn't, like he just like works at the Y or something. I'm like, I'm telling you, he doesn't work at the Y. He's like, well, he was like training people at like the Y the whole summer, and I was like, he wasn't like, all right, he's not like a certified like trainer there. They're not like paying him because it's like when we were working out that one time, the dude's like, you a trainer? You like training him or something? And it's just like, no, like we're just like friends working out. And he's like, all right, good. Like you can't come in here if like you're not working here and train people.
Right.
So you're not working, right? You do not work?
Well, like my profession right now is live poker player at the Encore.
Okay.
But I haven't been putting in the hours. I've been just waiting until after the holidays because my kids are 2.5 and 5.5. This is
key.
Yeah, it's one of the most special times of my life. Yeah. Right. So this Christmas means so much to me that put that on the back burner and focus on my kids.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
good for
intention
you,
until
yeah.
I started focusing on Ipswich basketball.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm just trying to get through Christmas, and then it's attack mode for the business side of life.
Okay. I don't even know, dude. I feel like you get like a winner's mentality. Can you kind of describe like your whole mentality? Because it's like if someone's watching this right now, they're probably like, dude, like how did he go to so many tournaments for poker? How did he do DFS? How are you living so like you said you're not going to be like financially satisfied for the rest of your life, but like right now I feel like you're in such a good state of like you're focusing, you're doing what you want to do. Like you're not letting other things control you. Like you've always controlled what you want to do, and you've had like a purpose with every single action you've done.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that started for me in 7th grade, where I kind of came to a point where I had to, well, I mean, I don't know that I had to. 7th grade me felt like he had to, because I was kind of torn between, as funny as this will come off, I won my middle school talent show
Oh yeah.
for singing Basket Case by Green Day.
Oh my goodness.
No credit to me. My backup was
Wait.
unbelievable.
Hold on,
That's
wait. How does that song go again? It's like, do you have the time to listen to me
Yeah,
one?
that's the one.
So good.
7th grade Jimmie rocking out. There's a VHS tape of it somewhere.
Yeah.
A friend has it. I was trying to get it by Christmas to show my my wife, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I was like, do I want to go with this band and like try and be the next Nirvana,
Yeah.
or do I want to try and play basketball? And I could see if I went the music way that there were gonna be a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
And I mean, like those kids,
Like drugs
were,
and that
like,
stuff, yeah.
drugs basically. So I chose basketball because I knew it was gonna keep me clean,
Yeah.
keep me healthy. And but yeah, so I was like in 7th grade, basically, like I knew I wanted to be all in on something,
Yeah.
right? I wanted to have a purpose that was bigger than, like, everybody was so worried about these tiny little 7th grade social interactions,
Yeah.
right? Like everyone was completely fixated on
Even
it.
still in high school, like, telling you, like,
Definitely
a lot of deathless sports teams are just worrying about stupid shit besides the game.
right. And I'm like, what is this gonna matter to my adult life?
Yeah.
How is any of this worth the time right now? And I'll say at this point, you gotta sweat the small stuff in life, and those interactions are really valuable. They are, and those relationships might not last into adulthood, but there is real tangible value in those relationships. So don't throw them to the wind like I'm suggesting that I did.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I want to do something that's adding value to myself. So at that point, I made the decision I don't care what these people think. I don't care what this person
Yeah.
thinks. I'm just gonna focus on what I'm gonna focus on.
Yeah.
And it was basketball. And the big key is having a growth mindset.
Like
Where-
doing every action in a day to better yourself. Like almost like, because I feel like a lot of people like maybe like they wake up and I don't know, like sometimes you do like get in those like, or at least I do, like sometimes you get like sluggish like moments throughout the day, but it's like you almost want like every single day to be like I'm doing each of these steps with like a growth. Like each thing I'm doing is like in some way or another like making me into a better person, into the person that I want to be.
Right. I mean, that's a great way to be, great way to think. Life's about habits. Who we are is just a sum of all of our habits. Yeah, everything we do is a habit.
Yeah.
Whether it's picking your nose or like that's like the kind of bad habit
Yeah.
that people think of. But everything's a habit. Like the way you wash your back in the shower is a habit, and if you have a
Yeah.
bad habit about it, you're going to end up with acne on your back. Or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like it's going to manifest in some way. But every single thing is a habit.
That's so true. That is true. All right. I don't really know what else to talk about. All right. Well, actually, I want to talk about this. You were talking about it earlier about your physical stuff. I know. I guess the team's doing yoga after it, and I'm assuming you implemented that because I feel like that's right up your alley. Talk about how undervalued warming up and recovery is in terms of high school sports, especially in like, I'm just thinking like Ipswich especially, like I feel like it's not talked about enough.
Right.
I feel like kids just get out of school, it's freezing out, your muscles are really tight, they just go do sprints, and then they just go home. Once again, don't stretch anything after, and they just go out like nothing happened, and they get really sore the next day.
So we started this season with 2 snow days.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of really cut into our time. So we were way behind on everything. So we went 2 weeks before we implemented dynamic warm-ups. Right. Before, Coach LaRoche came out with, all right, we're going to do this set of exercises. And
we never did that when we were in high school. And that was annoying me. It was like we kind of, like it's like you kind of be assumed that you stretch before practice or whatever, but it's like you do just like your time, you just like do like the, what is it called? Is this like when you just hold?
Static.
You just hold static. So dynamic is when you're actually doing the movements, right?
Right.
Like you're going,
activating the
you're like,
muscles
you guys
rather
all start on the sideline, you go across as a team, you come back as a team. I don't think we did that enough. I know we did that in tryouts, but I don't know. I think that's important. So what are you guys doing for warm-ups? Is that what you're doing, dynamic stretching?
Right now we're doing, so we're doing dynamic stretches, and then we're just, the warm-ups that we're doing like pregame are probably the same stuff you did, kind of like star passing and layup lines.
Okay,
yeah. I feel like we have a little bit of progress to make on that to get people moving a little bit more, get the heart rate up to closer to what it's going to be at game time, which will benefit us in getting nerves out as well. Like it'll cook some of the adrenaline that's kind of toxic. So that's where we're at right now, and we're gonna, like one of our big opportunities to warm up before a game is JV halftime.
Yeah.
And what we're doing right now is we have, a dozen guys, if they're there on time,
shooting like in their shirts and ties.
They might be dressed at that point. I can't remember. I think they might be.
Yeah.
But it's just like 10 guys, 10 balls.
Yeah.
And they're all throwing them at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's as sloppy as it can be. I was trying to rebound for them before the Newburyport game, and I was just getting hit in the head all over the place.
Yeah.
Where Newburyport came out at JV halftime, and they were doing, the little curl short shot routine, and like actually getting movement, actually getting a larger number of reps in a very organized way where they were together, and I really admired that in them, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think that's one area where we can improve our warm-ups, is kind of getting organization to our JV halftime routine. And I don't want to do the same drill that Newburyport did. That's not what I would pick. Yeah. But whatever works for our guys to get them kind of loose. Yeah. It's just something that's organized and together rather than 10 individuals.
Something good that we implemented like late into our season, we did 3-on-2, like just like warm-ups, or not, 3-on-2, where it's just like you actually have to think. Like it's not like you're just like, here, I'm just gonna pass it to him. I don't care how it like ends up in his hands because there's no defenders or anything. Like I feel like when we do like layup lines, sometimes there's just a lack of like a feeling that like I'm pressured to make this shot right now. I'm just like, I'm just hitting this layup. Like 3-on-2 is like kind of like an actual in-game scenario where you're trying to attack the hoop as fast as you can, and you have people trying to take the ball from you. Right. What are you doing for recovery? So I know you're doing yoga, but like
me personally or the team?
The team.
So the yoga was kind of that was basically just because we were on a back-to-back. Right? Okay. That never would have come up if we didn't have this snow day Tuesday that kind of pushed the games together. So it's kind of a blessing that did work out like that, because that was we're the only team in the North Shore that did yoga after a game. Yeah. Right? And it's always valuable to know you're unique in some way. Yeah. And I'm hoping we can continue to kind of implement that after at least home games. Yeah. Road games, we got to hop on the bus. JV's waiting for us. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But home games, when we have the time for it, or maybe after practices, or maybe some Sunday practices just become an extended yoga session. Like that's really valuable for recovery, and it's really valuable for everyone to have a baseline knowledge of yoga, because it really is the best form of exercise for your health. Yeah. So going into adulthood, having a head start on it will help them all to be healthier. Yeah.
All right. I was seeing this thing, like, do you think yoga, like, I feel like yoga and meditation are like two things that are super undervalued. Like LeBron just sign something with like a meditation like app or something like that. How like do you think people are like meditating enough or like getting their like focusing on like brain health? I'm not sure if like that's the right word, brain health. You know what I'm talking about? Like getting people like being mentally ready and mentally prepared for like a task at hand.
You mean for sports specifically? Or
Yeah,
for,
mainly
for
sports.
well-being?
I mean, you could say both, but I mean like just because we're talking about basketball right now, like mentally being prepared to know what you're going to be faced with. Because I felt like when you guys faced Newburyport, maybe it wasn't like being mentally prepared. It was I felt like it was multiple things, but like if you were mentally prepared, like you got to know what you're doing with the ball.
Right. I mean, I feel like we didn't enter the game ready to play, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
all those inbound passes that turned into turnovers because of like minor miscommunications,
Yeah.
minor timing, miscommunications between the receiver and the passer. Like those are things where, yeah, if you're sitting down and visualizing what's
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
happen in
Yeah.
the game,
Yeah.
kind of getting your brain to game speed. Yeah, you can enter the game in a different state than you otherwise would.
Yeah.
To answer your question, are people meditating enough? The answer is obviously no.
Yeah.
I don't need to know the context
Yeah.
of the question. The answer is no.
Yeah.
And meditation and yoga have both come a really long way in the United States in the last like 15 or 20 years, maybe even 30 years.
Yeah.
But it's still nowhere near where
It
would
should
be
be,
most beneficial for humans.
How long do you think it should take for people to do that? Because I know it's so weird. Junior year in my English class, our guidance counselors were like going around taking like 20 minutes or like no, it was like 10 to 20 minutes out of our class doing meditations, and it was like crazy because it takes you to like it's like the world's like craziest natural drug, like
Right.
just like to be like literally just sitting there on we were like that like on a table on our desk just sitting there for 20 minutes straight while she was just saying stuff in our heads, like just be like I don't know, I can't even remember the words, but it was crazy, and I haven't done it since. But how long do you think people should be spending in their days doing that?
Practically, and for teenagers, like if you can get 20 minutes a day of dedicated meditation, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
Even for adults, that would be great.
Yeah.
But there's this old Gandhi quote that
Yeah.
I've always really loved, where Gandhi would wake up, whatever time, super early, and he would do an hour of meditation. And one day he wakes up and he says, "Oh, I have so much to do today. I'd better meditate for 2 hours instead of one."
Yeah.
Like the meditation is going to make you higher functioning and make you closer to the best version of yourself that you can be. You're going to
Yeah.
be able to get more done even though you're losing that time.
Okay. We're gonna move into basketball now, like specifically the team this year. So that's like a basic not basic. We kind of just dove into like everything that's led you up to this point, and now we're on to Ipswich basketball. I'm gonna pull up the text from LaRoche because hopefully, do you recall the team like alphabetically or no?
I can get it.
Colin's the first.
Starts
person.
with the atoms, right?
Yeah, of course.
Do you need me to get it?
If you can, I don't know.
I got it
where-
from the practice right here.
Oh, you
The
got it?
names are all at the top. They're not alphabetical.
All right, gotcha. All right, fine. We'll just go like this. All right, we got Will Vanderbilt first.
What do you want me to say?
Two positives and one or two things that he could work on, and try to make it different than LaRoche's. I know if you saw LaRoche's, right?
I did see
Yeah.
it. I don't actually remember everything he said. I mean,
Okay.
things are obviously going to blend. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to have the same ideas
Yeah.
about people. I'm not sure if I can answer it quite how you want, like two positives, two negatives, or whatever.
Two
rather
things
than
you
just
think he's
speaking
like
broadly.
excelling at,
Um,
compared to like other players on the team, if that makes sense.
Look, I think Will is a big focus for me right now, and I think it should be a big focus for the whole team because he's not a captain, but he is a senior leader, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And there's it's kind of up in the air about whether he should have been a captain or not.
Yeah.
Our captains are great. I don't mean to take anything away from them
Yeah.
in saying that, and no desire to make any change to anything. Everybody's doing great, but Will's definitely a very powerful leader, And without having that title of captain, he's got two ways he can go with it. He can go under, he can go over, right? So is he just gonna not have the positive impact on the team that he could because he didn't get that title, or is he gonna find something above it, right? Where he can still do all those things, and it can have.
He
more
doesn't
meaning.
need the title to have I know what you're talking about.
Like,
I think that happened to us kind of last year, where like a lot of us get suspended, and I mean there's our captains were still obviously great, but it's like it didn't take anything away from us for like the other seniors who got suspended. That like this is still like our team. Like we've been together for 7 years. Like we're all gonna be like equal leaders on this team. Like we're all gonna help each other, regardless of if I'm a captain or not.
Yeah, that's a huge point. Is having we have 14 leaders.
Yeah.
Right, rather than 3 captains.
So you think his leadership's like definitely something that is excelling compared to others?
His own words, he leads by example.
Yeah.
Right, and him showing up with it every day is, one of the most important things to keep us on a trajectory towards being a championship contending team.
Yeah.
Right. So the two biggest things from Will are the leadership that he brings, and then he's just a deadly 3-point shooter.
Yeah. When he pulled up against...
He has elite ball handling skills as well, and he's going to be important the whole way breaking these presses. But yeah, just him staying locked in and keeping the other guys locked in by doing that, and then the 3-point shooting. Sorry, he pulled up from where?
No, remember Newburyport? He pulled up on the wing. He was like Steph Curry range. Will, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. You're down the other end of the court. You caught it on the wing. Me and Ben were just like, no way you pull this. And he pulled it and he hit it. And this is early in the game when it was still close or semi-close. And he hit it. I was like, no way. He was deep. I'm telling you, maybe 3 to 4 feet off the line. No BS. And the guy was still in his face.
Yeah, I've talked to Will about this before, but I'll say it again anyway. Will, my challenge to you is to not – I'm fine with you taking NBA threes. You clearly have the range. But don't take NBA threes because you want to take NBA threes. Take an NBA three if it's the best shot, but if you can get closer and get a higher field goal percentage shot, obviously do that. I feel like when people like to pull from three, it takes away the accountability for misses because you're supposed to miss NBA threes. So, pressure's off. Doesn't matter if I miss. Don't take the pressure off yourself. Do the actual best play. And if you can get a closer shot, get the closer shot. Don't be afraid of accountability. We want accountability.
All right. We'll go on to Nikhil.
Which Nikhil are we talking about? Are we talking about Nikhil or Beast Mode Nikhil? The legend of Beast Mode Nikhil.
The legend of Beast Mode Nikhil. That's talk about.
I'm just joking.
I don't know.
So, Nikhil obviously has so many positives about him. He's our best rebounder. He's our best scorer on the interior. He's actually, he's in our top 5 3-point shooters, no doubt about it.
Because when he pulled up in the Newburyport game, I was like, some people were like, dude, why is he taking that? It's like he hits those. He does hit those, even though it's and it goes in like that, but he does hit those.
He's got to start from the inside out, and he's got to make teams respect him on the interior to the point that they won't even pick him up at the 3-point line.
Yeah.
And then he's just gonna
hit him. Yeah.
Then he's just gonna be stroking him. But yeah, Nikhil, when he's locked in, like we saw him in the Rockport game.
Yeah.
He's unstoppable. He has a couple corrections to make, just kind of improve his catching a little bit, improve his timing a little bit, be able to feel a defender on his back and know if he should be spinning middle or spinning baseline after he catches it.
Yeah.
But once he gets those few small things, he's going to unlock a whole another world of basketball.
Yeah.
And also, how he approaches shot blocking defensively. I feel like Rockport got in early foul trouble, and then there was a lot of heat from every direction for him. You can't get in foul trouble. We need you on the floor.
Yeah.
And the phrase that we used was chain shots, don't block shots.
Yeah, LaRoche.
And right, I mean, and it's that's a great that is a totally appropriate phrase. That's a great phrase, a great way of thinking about it. But I feel like there was just a lot of negative reinforcement for him about how aggressively he was going after shots. So he went kind of the opposite extreme in the last 2 games, and there were a lot of shots that went up where he was just watching them and not even trying to contest them.
Yeah.
We obviously need
Want
him
to contest those.
up the level of physicality as much as he can. So defensively, he needs to
keep being aggressive,
and like he has the ability, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Within this season right now, in the next 10 games before the playoffs, like we can be a totally different team for the playoffs. He has the ability to be the most effective defender in the league.
Yeah.
And it's not just shot blocking. It's also like he gets in these passing lanes and steals these passes. He's got long arms. Like once he, fixes a few bad habits where he gets out of position a little bit or he closes out too deep and then he's like not in balance to,
I think that's one thing
chest to chest with somebody.
Like LaRoche said about Will, but also I feel like Nikhil, it's like if you guys can work on your stutter steps, like you guys are so tall and long that you know the distance that you need to go out, stutter step, and stop at a appropriate distance to where you can change that shot, but also if he tries to put the ball on the ground, you can step in and stop him. Instead of because I feel like there's times where it's they're bolting out there. There's no stutter step. They're so tall they could change and alter the shot regardless. They don't have to get up in their grill, and they just blow by. Just an easy pass because they're out of the play now.
Right.
One thing key, I think. What was it? I think Rockport, you did it really well blocking the shots and stuff. But also, I know you were talking about the foul trouble. You can easily, if you can try to work on not going like this. I don't know, if there's a guy refs, they always talk about it. Refs, if they see this, if they see you come down, and they're most likely going to call a foul 9 times out of 10. When you got that 4th foul towards the opposite side on the baseline, when you clearly blocked the guy, it's just because you came down like this and you slapped it instead of getting it at its peak like you were doing for a couple of the other ones.
Yeah, one more thing to you, Nikhil. You don't know right now what's possible for you. You can seriously get 30 rebounds in a game. Anytime it comes off the rim, you can learn your timing and your balance so that you can lunge into the area and your arms are long enough. Nobody's gonna be able to stop you from getting rebounds. Yeah. You against Manchester Essex last night. It should have been a game where Nikhil just shot till he missed. Shot till he made it, I mean. He should be able to get the offensive rebound every time he puts it up because nobody could get up there to contest it. But it's still a process to kind of learn all that footwork and reading the ball off the rim. Yeah. But there's no cap to what you can do, man.
Yeah, I agree. One thing Mr. Varga, no, is it Varga? Mr. Vega, I don't think you know who that is. Mr. Yen, my neighbor, that's up there. R.I.P. Mr. Yen. He did Yen ball. That was our middle school travel. We probably won games at 30 points each game. Mr. Vega was our assistant coach. 70% of shots go off on the opposite side that they're shot. So position yourself. You already told him that, did you?
No, I haven't talked to him about anything specific coming off the rim.
70% of shots go off the opposite side of the rim, Nikhil. So prepare yourself and lunge to the correct side. All right, Charlie Henderson.
Charlie, I love Charlie, man. He's such a good kid. Competitor, and he hasn't had a big game yet shooting wise. Yeah. But his shot is so smooth. There's no inefficiency to the movement. So I know it's coming for him.
Yeah. I was gonna say he clanked a couple of shots in the Newburyport game, and I felt like those are shots that he hits. When we played him full court that day, he had that one nice one where he had a 2-on-1. He had a guy on his back, and he kind of did this pass fake. Everyone right by him, and he just pulled up, and it was just a beautiful free throw line jumper that you can easily hit in game. What's the one thing you think Charlie should work on?
I would, Coach LaRoche, I'm sorry for saying this. But I would say, Charlie, stop taking pull-ups. Don't take 15-footers, 17-footers. Shoot threes and shoot layups. You know, if you're shooting a mid-range, you should probably just be within that space that you're shooting that mid-range jumper, creating a passing lane where you can drop it to Nikhil. Like, it's just math. It's nothing against 15-footers. It's just the math. Like, they don't make sense.
Yeah. So you don't like mid-range at all?
There are a couple of complex exceptions where I'm good with taking mid-range jumpers as a way to balance our attack, so that the defense
like kind of come out,
things, right? Because if they know we're never taking them, then we can be exploited. But in a vacuum, I'm absolutely against mid-range jumpers.
All right. Okay. All right. We got Ray.
Except for Coach LaRoche, the man is unbelievable at him.
Yeah.
He never misses. So
telling you, you're disrespecting all the OGs. That's like their whole offense right there. Like high pick and roll. You get the guy on your butt. You feel him. You feel if he's gonna try to get in front of you or whatever. Like, so if you feel him coming over here, it's like, you know that you have the right hand. If you hear him coming on the other side, it's just like one dribble this way, shoot it, or it's like if the guy comes off it, it's like, I feel like LaRoche is so good at those screens. It's so annoying in Y League. So we got Ray.
Ray he needs to improve defensively. Right. I mean, that's all it is for him. Offensively, there's a lot of times where, in terms of dribbling against the press, I wish he could bring it back to the middle more, where he's taking it up the sideline, and then he's doing these cutbacks, right? And the JV squad is like, ooh, so he gets like positive reinforcement for it, but those cutbacks don't actually create anything.
I know. I was gonna say, because he does that a lot, where he leans in with like the right foot, and he kind of does this like thing where he gets back, and it's like
it creates space.
Yeah,
it gives him the ability to pass.
Yeah,
but it's otherwise it's just. It's just, you never want to be pausing as a point guard. You want to be pushing pace constantly and keeping the defense on their heels, making them react constantly. So that cutback is just bringing the game to a pause, right? Pauses
like letting them like all like kind of relax and settle, like kind of like you were just pushing the ball up the floor, and now you just cut back, and now you're pausing, and now you're letting me find my guy, get settled, get in help position, instead of like having constantly people moving. I think that was one thing that we were like, could have been way better with when I played, is this transition like offense, like really like you get the rebound, you're dribbling down there, we're right into an action, so the defense never gets a chance to be like, where's my guy, like let me get in like a good help position. They're like constantly like chasing their guy around, just trying to like recover from running down the floor so fast.
Yo, Ray, you're the man. We're obviously like super nitpicking you here. Like, that's you're the man.
100%. I mean, especially for a freshman too, it's like insane. But you know what? What's interesting that like I've been talking about with my friends is that it's interesting because in my opinion, Charlie and Ray are like very good basketball players in the terms of like they're not the fastest guards in the league. They are not the fastest guards in the league, but they know how to use like what they have to create like space. Like it's so like Ray's dribbling is insane. Like when we play like King of the Court at the Y and stuff, like he knows how to make, like LaRoche said, he knows how to make enough space to get his shot off. Right. And it's just big. He's not faster than me. Like he won't like beat me to the hoop if he just does a first step right away. But it's like he knows how to like do all these crazy stuff and get me to budge a little bit too much to the point where like he uses his body to hit me, and he can like just create that like separation.
So I'm like short on time, like real short, so we can fly through these, or we can schedule part 2. What do you want to do?
Well, we don't have to. All right, what are you looking forward to? The team changing.
No, we can go through everybody. I don't want to leave anybody out.
All right, okay.
It's got to be quick.
Yeah, we'll go fast. Brendan.
Brendan's rebounding is huge for us. His defense is huge for us. That 4 spot in the starting lineup is like the most important position for us right now, and he's doing amazing at it. And he's got some really important leadership qualities. Another guy that if I had a vote, I mean, I would have thrown a lot of votes if I could vote, but he was a guy I might have thrown a vote for captain. What does he need to improve on? I mean, he can get reps up at practice or like by himself, like and try and improve his 3-point shooting because he's gonna be able to get looks. I mean,
Yeah.
he hasn't been able to make one yet in the game, but we're gonna be happy with him shooting.
Last year he was hitting them. I told that to LaRoche. I was like, because it was weird. Last year he was hitting those. Last year when I drove baseline and they would collapse on the keel, there'd be he was sitting right up top, ready to shoot it, catch it, bang it. All right, Tyler.
I mean, Tyler's kind of he's just like when we get in the games, he's kind of like in a box. Like he's in a role where he doesn't have unlimited opportunity. So like saying that Tyler's not being successful at something would kind of be a disservice to him because he doesn't necessarily have opportunities to do everything. And he's in that same rotation in that 4 spot with Brendan where we need defense, we need rebounding. And if you can spot up for some open threes, that's great too. I think he's doing all those things. I think Tyler just needs to keep working hard.
Yeah.
And, be able to be happy operating within that role, where some people, might kind of check out.
Yeah.
If he can stay locked in with what we need from him, then he's helping us.
Colin.
What I would like to see from Colin is that he just, when we grow up, we all think, I want to be a good basketball player. To be a good basketball player, I need to score. That's how I'm going to prove it to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Colin came up with that kind of a mentality. I think he just should throw it out.
Yeah.
Because he has the length to be an elite defender. Like
in
terms of perimeter defense, he can work himself into the rotation by being usable for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that's stopping anybody from becoming an elite defender. And I'm not saying he's a bad defender or anything like that at this point. But if that becomes his focus, then he's got a spot.
Yeah. I always think of Colin as like a Sean Livingston, like on the Warriors.
Yeah,
like,
I see that.
Yeah. We had Ethan.
I haven't had that much of an opportunity to see him play.
Yeah.
I watched some tape from last year. I watched some of his time at Swampscott. But we had a scrimmage.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
So, I mean, I think Ethan's, in terms of being on the sideline, like he is now, I think he's doing a good job. Like I always tell him, just if you have nothing to say, just yell for them to talk because we're never talking enough.
Yeah.
It's always right there. But I think Ethan's doing a great job. And then when he gets on the floor, I mean, he can be a creator. He can be a shooter. The only thing I wouldn't want for him to do is be a ball stopper, like where the rotation stops or everything like slows to
like just like static,
stops,
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So if he can operate quickly.
Okay. We have Toby.
So, Toby's a very specific case, obviously, where I think that we need to change some of our defensive principles for him. But obviously, like, same as Coach LaRoche said, it's just the size, right? And there's nothing we can do about that. So we focus on what we can do something about. We change the principles so that where he's deficient, his teammates are picking up the slack, right? And then, so Toby's in our best shooting lineup. He's in our fastest lineup.
Yeah.
He's in our best ball handling lineup. So we got to find a way to get him on the floor.
Yeah.
But
do you think the refs?
Right
I feel like the refs are like a little bit like last game. I felt like obviously because he's smaller, right? He's gonna be easier to push around, but that's still a foul, right? Like, is it not? Like, if he gets completely just like if someone just like I don't know. I can't describe it. Like when you're trying to like hit someone, like you're trying to like get some space or whatever. Like when he's playing defense against you and you like knock him over pretty good. Like, is that not a foul? Or is it, because it's like I feel like it's hard for a ref because it's like
I'm not a ref. I don't know how they think. Like,
yeah. Well, I feel like Ted Flair didn't even know the answer to that. Ted used to be a ref. He's all over that stuff. Paul Wirtz.
Paul, super hard worker, always good attitude. He needs time. He needs reps to change his shooting technique, to kind of get a good backspin and get a good wrist flick on the release. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing I would change about Paul. He just needs time.
Yeah, I do agree. I think he could have a really good jump shot. Like he's got like a nice high release where like he could like easily like have a nice three. I think he shoots a lot of mid range. All right, we got Evan Stein.
So Evan Evan's kind of same case as Paul right now, and I want to see Evan get some JV time just so he can kind of get
in his
game
groove.
reps,
Yeah.
right? Because he hasn't gotten that with varsity when it's mattered. But Evan, I can't say enough positive about Evan.
Yeah.
I love him to death. He's a super hard worker. Came to so many of our morning practices in the preseason, and he's trying to make his timeline. He needs time like Paul does to kind of add arc to his shot and get a smooth release. His timeline is he wants it to be super accelerated to this season, which is possible for him. And he made 2 big threes in scrimmages in practice today, and I have a growth mindset and I like to apply that to everybody, and he has surprised me even.
Yeah.
So he just needs to keep working. There's nothing I would change about Evan. I mean, Evan can become focused on defense, which he already kind of knows.
Yeah.
But he needs some guidance with that, and that's on me. But Evan's doing everything he should be doing right.
Okay, David.
I mean, David showed so much the last 2 games against this press. He was doing a great job moving, getting the ball up the floor. I think he needs to not. He took 1 shot last night that was not a bad shot, but it was a rushed shot, sort of.
Okay.
And what I said to him was just, this is a shot we can get at any point, so like we don't need to settle for it early shot clock.
Yeah.
Right. I'm happy with David shooting. I think he has a good shot, even though his technique is a little puts a little bit of side spin on it. It's a little bit of a knuckleball maybe.
Yeah.
But I know he has it in him to be a good shooter. I think he just needs to keep working hard. I know he's trying hard to like be a positive influence in the locker room. He needs to keep doing that. Focus on defense is always a key, and just focus on push and pace.
Gotcha. And then last one, Cole.
So Cole, obviously, tremendous athlete.
Yeah.
Basketball. I think he didn't play last year.
He didn't play. No, he's never. I don't think he's ever played basketball.
Right. So he's another guy in that Tyler, Brendan, Colin kind of rotation for the 4 spot. And the kind of same thing I said about Tyler is like if he can be happy, and I think he is operating within that role and not needing to be a scorer, get shots up or whatever. He needs time to develop the actual basketball skills. But in terms of effort and playing great defense and being focused on rebounding, he's doing all those things tremendously well. Okay. And he's shown tremendous leadership qualities in the last 24 hours. Yeah. So very impressed with Cole.
Okay, you guys got Whittier on Monday, correct?
Yep.
Okay, are they looking good or bad? They got Prince, right? They got the kid with like the hair.
I don't know anything about Whittier. All
really?
I know is it's not a league game, and Coach LaRoche said that their ball handlers are potentially susceptible to pressure. I kind of assume because it's a tech school that they would have decent ballers, but I don't know. They've been historically good or no?
Like they've kind of been meh. I think we lost to them first game of my junior year by like 4 or whatever, but we've always been close to them. They had good guards. They had a really good. They had 2 big guys. They had like this, like I couldn't even compare him to another player. He was like a 6 foot like 200-pound kid that just hucked up threes.
Right.
I don't know. He was like a 1,000-point scorer though, so he was pretty good.
So like the Whittier game isn't about Whittier,
Finding your like it's more about you guys like trying to find out like not re-identify, but like try to get back to where you were at Rockport. Like everyone's in their groove.
I mean Rockport.
I don't.
First of all, Rockport's bad.
Yeah.
And then we just shot so well.
It was like almost
like expectation.
Was it almost like a false? Not like false because it happened, but it was like a false sense of like, damn, like we were really this good, like a 40-point win over Rockport team, good, like meaning that like we could.
You know
beat
what?
them.
Newburyport is a false sense of, oh man, we suck.
We're so bad,
like,
yeah.
So the thing about Whittier is when we got to the locker room after the game last night, things were a little bit toxic, right? And coach was kind of talking about cracks showing up, right? So to me, when we were standing in the locker room last night, we had 60 hours before tip-off against Whittier on Monday. And for those 60 hours, the question is, are we like digging a deeper rock bottom?
Yeah.
Or are we making that moment in that locker room our rock bottom? And through the 60 hours before tip, are we going through a process, like a cathartic healing process, where we're going to come together and, you know, make we're going to have a turning point at some point after the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Was that turning point last night, or are we going to wait until Monday to have that turning point, and then we have Christmas break to process it? I would like to see 100% intensity, 100% effort and commitment from the guys on Monday, win or lose, so we know very clearly what direction we're heading in, and we can operate in that space for the rest of Christmas break, where we can actually make some progress on the things that we just haven't had time for yet.
Yeah.
So that is what Whittier is about for me.
Okay, gotcha. You guys playing a Christmas tournament over break or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I'm not positive.
Okay.
It might be like a varsity only game at some point, but I'm not sure what the schedule is.
All right, gotcha. All right, man. Have a great Christmas. If I don't see you, brother, I'll probably see you Whittier's away, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you for stopping by. This has been the podcast with Jimmie. I'll see you guys around. Peace.